Hey there, Oz.
Hey there, Curtis.
Hey, what movie we watching this week?
This week we've got the movie marriage of Rachel Green from Friends
Yeah.
meets Of Mice and Men
Okay.
with a healthy dose of Gremlins
Of course.
and a whole lot of Hornswoggle. This week we're talking Leprechaun.
Hornswoggle. Oh. That was one of those WWE characters that just, it was cringy but funny but
Yes.
cringy, and
it should not have worked at all, but it's characters like that that I wonder how much drinking did that man do behind the curtain, because he had to save face of I'm Hornswoggle. I love it. I love being Hornswoggle. And it's like, do you? Like,
and at one point, didn't they made him like Vince McMahon's son?
Yeah.
Is because it was originally supposed to be another character who had, because there was a character who had a developmental disability, and I forget the name of the character. It doesn't matter. I'm probably better off for forgetting the name of that character.
I know there was one named Eugene. Was that Eugene?
That was it. And and so they decided, well, we still got to be bold.
Yeah.
We're still going to be inappropriate, just not that level of inappropriate.
Oh, it was that Eugene character was terrible.
That was bad. That was like, one of the worst. That was one of the worst things in WWE history.
But it's like, what, like that was agreed upon.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah. Kudos all around.
Oh my, we're
going to make a little person, and we're going to put him in a leprechaun outfit, and then we're going to make him Vince McMahon's son.
Yeah. We've struck pot of gold here.
Yeah.
So, well, welcome back, listeners and viewers, to another week of Let's Talk About Flicks, the podcast where we take a monthly theme. It's a new month. Actually March 1st is the date of this recording, and we have transitioned from Wives Choice Month to Patreon Subscriber Choice Month, and we are kicking off Patreon Subscriber Choice Month with Leprechaun, which would be Patreon subscriber Mandy K's pick for her selection of the month.
Mandy K, as everyone knows, Let's Talk About Flicks listeners know, Mandy K is a huge horror fan.
Yes, of all sorts of horror. Like if
all subgenres.
If it slightly smells like it could be a horror movie, Mandy K's all over it.
Yes. And no surprise that Mandy K throws us a horror movie.
So we do want to give a shout out to other Patreon subscribers and their movies are coming up. Don S., Aaron A., Melissa L., Colin K., and Lyle M.
Yes.
Thank you guys for your patronage. But this week is about Mandy.
Yes. We celebrate you and your love of horror by going back to 1993's Leprechaun.
Yeah, 1991's filmed 1993's Jennifer Aniston career-launching film.
This is the one that shot her into the stratosphere.
It's like, I know this movie was filmed in 91, released in 93. She started Friends in 94. So, like, this really was, I won't say it was, she brought more attention to this movie than this movie brought to her.
Yeah.
But even just reading the trivia on IMDb, so many people, Warwick Davis included, were just like, she was going places. Like we sensed it then, that despite the fact this is her first feature film, but that girl's going places, and New York was where she went. So
she was also, I remember, I think this show was on Fox. She was on a short-lived sketch show called The Edge. Do you remember that?
I don't. I do. Did she play Jeannie Bueller in the Ferris Bueller TV show?
I'm going back through her filmography right now. I'm on the old Internet Movie Database.
She was born in Sherman Oaks.
Yes, you are correct.
She was Jeannie Bueller.
13 episodes of Ferris Bueller, the TV series, as Jeannie Bueller.
I think you missed an adjective there. All 13 episodes.
Yes, all the 13 wonderful.
Right. The top 13
She
episodes.
was in all 13 of the best ones. She actually, her very first credit was uncredited as bystander in Mac and Me.
Oh, nice. So
she
she
was
drug
probably
her.
she was probably standing around during the big dance sequence in the McDonald's.
Probably. She drug herself up through the trenches then. Mac and Me, Ferris Bueller, Leprechaun. So yeah, I would definitely say, of course, they had mentioned that like Friends was never expected to like be a hit.
Yeah.
And of course it was just a cultural phenomenon, but so it's like, we very easily could have been on the other end if Friends was a dud. That would have been just another TV show she was on, but
I'm looking at The Edge right now, and I'm remembering the show. Julie Brown was the big name on The Edge. Wayne Knight was on it, as well as Tom Kenny, the future voice of SpongeBob, and Alan Ruck. There's another Ferris Bueller connection. Right. So
you said it was a sketch show?
Yeah, sketch show.
Yeah, I don't hear any of those names and think, wow, they're like sketch people, they just, so good for them.
George Wendt was in an episode. Kathy Ireland was in an episode. Kevin Nealon was in a couple. Paul Feig was in several episodes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but we're going to talk about Leprechaun today.
We are. We're not talking about The Edge, early 90s failed sketch comedy.
Right. This movie has launched a whole series of film that
each sillier and zanier than the last.
I had not seen. This is the first viewing of any movie in the Leprechaun filmography, and I almost put Child's Play in my movie Marriage.
Sure, would have worked too.
But I felt Child's Play was just a lot meaner than this film.
Yeah,
and it didn't have a melting puppet at the end of the movie like Gremlins did, so yeah, and so that's why I went the Gremlins route. But yeah, I feel that the trajectory of Leprechaun and Child's Play is somewhat similar. Of we're going to have a whole bunch of them, and they're going to get kind of silly, and they're going to be fun, and people are still just going to be cool with it. So
yeah, and eventually Ice-T will be in one.
Yes, yes. So and there was hot tea in this one.
Hot tea.
Mrs. O'Grady poured a cup of hot tea.
She did.
Who's in this movie?
As far as the cast, because again, you got the plot this week, so I got the cast. Not a huge cast. I got Warwick Davis as the titular, the Leprechaun.
He's not throwing limericks out quite yet.
Yeah.
He's not as sing-song rhymey as I guess he gets in later films.
But apparently he brought enough kind of silliness to the movie that like just his performance ended up shifting the entire tone. And
I'd read that too, yeah.
And it wasn't just him in kind of a silo. It was like the creative team noticed it and shifted the tone of the whole film to go with it.
I'd read the studios wanted more just like a straightforward horror,
classic horror film, with a monster character.
But Mark Jones was like, this guy's actually really good at like fleshing out this character. Let's do something with it.
Yep. As you said before, we've got Rachel Green herself, Jennifer Aniston, as Tori Redding.
Yeah, I was watching part of this. My wife was kind of watching over my shoulder, and it was early. It was like when they first get to the house, and I said, so she's Rachel Green. Like, she's still that character in this film. Yeah. Before she's actually that character in New York.
Maybe it's all set in the same universe.
It probably is.
It's in the Friends cinematic universe.
Right. I've not seen Warwick Davis in New York.
I haven't either. Nor have I seen Ken Olant, who plays Nathan Murphy, local busybody, local
house painter.
Yes,
house painting business owner.
Small business owner.
Yeah.
Ken Olant he brought his arms with him for this too.
He definitely brought his arms. He left his sleeves and he brought his arms.
His torso is covered, but not his arms.
Oh, I had mentioned last week, like I like Ken Olant. He's just a safe choice. He's got enough charisma and enough acting talent that he's not going to ruin a film.
Yeah, he was fine in this.
But he's not star quality either.
But for a movie like this, he was fine.
Yeah, I would take Ken Olant over Casper Van Dien.
I don't know that you could set your watch to Casper Van Dien's jawline.
That you could. So
we've got Mark Holton himself.
a lot of Mark Holton in this movie.
Yes, we do. We get a lot of Mark Holton. It's Enrico Palazzo as Ozzy Jones.
I know you are, but what am I? Infinity.
We've got Robert High Gorman as Alex Murphy, Nathan's younger brother. Also, I think a part small business owner here as well.
His character irritated me early on and kind of grew, and then the humor of his character kind of grew on me a little bit. Yeah. You may have seen him from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Ah, okay.
He's the younger brother in that movie.
There we go. There's the connection. We have John Sanderford as Mr. Redding, J.D. Redding. We got a couple police officers, and then we have Dan O'Grady played by Shay Duffin, as well as Pamela Mant as Leah O'Grady, Dan, as they say in Wikipedia, Dan's wife.
Dan's wife.
They don't have Leah's husband.
No,
next to his name, but they have Dan's wife next to her character.
Yeah, exactly. This I liked this movie.
It's again, is it a good movie?
No, absolutely not.
It's not. But is it a fun movie? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where it was for me. It was like, okay, you've got my attention. Yeah. Like,
it's better than the 4.8 on IMDb.
Yes, it is much better than the 4.8 on IMDb. And I'll get later into a lot of comps that you and I both appreciate, that I think this fit into that stratosphere more than I thought it would. So the movie grew on me as we went along. I mean, there was some of that. It was like, okay, this is safe. This feels comfortable. I'm happy watching this movie. All right, so
let's get into the plot.
This movie kicks off in the early 80s as Dan O'Grady returns home. He went to Ireland, and you know that because he has a very thick Irish accent.
Yes.
And he's come home, and he's got a chauffeur. He comes home in a limo, and his wife's like, "A limo? Dan O'Grady? We can't afford a limo."
Yeah, they really play up the Irishness here.
It's like they are 1983, but their Irish accent is so thick that you think that they just moved westward and settled on their homestead.
Yeah, they just got off the boat in 1890.
Exactly. And he's like, "Oh, but what a rich, I captured a leprechaun and I stole his gold." And the wife
Everybody
is like,
see the leprechaun say, "Yeah."
And of course his wife is like, "Okay, whatever." So he shows her, like, he went home to a funeral. He went back to Ireland for a funeral, comes back, and he has an urn. But in this urn is this bag of gold.
Yes, it's a literal pot of gold.
It's a literal pot of gold.
Because we're going to really play with some big Irish stereotypes here.
There is exactly. There is a fictional storytelling element to this lore, and we are going to cross every bridge that is covered. And honestly, I'm kind of here for it, though. Like, this movie didn't take any liberties with creating new folklore about leprechauns. It was like, I'd read to Mark Jones was kind of surprised that there's never been a leprechaun movie, like a leprechaun focused movie, because he's like, there's so much history and storytelling there. So let's run with it. And they do, to where you see with vampires and you see with werewolves, like, people are always trying to like sneak in new stuff. Mark Jones is like, none of that.
No.
Here's the leprechaun playbook. We're staying in those lanes.
Here's the cultural, every cultural influence, every cultural reference that we think of with a leprechaun is here. Nothing more, nothing less.
Which I admittedly don't know a whole lot about leprechaun folklore. So if this movie is diligently accurate in its folklore, then I've learned a lot about leprechaun folklore by watching this movie. I knew that they're associated with four-leaf clovers, but I didn't know that the four-leaf clover is what suppressed a leprechaun's powers.
Well, we know now. I mean, this movie is also very based on science as well as culture.
Four-leaf clovers are real, so therefore leprechauns must be real.
Yep. And they suppress the power.
And thankfully there's four-leaf clovers out there. So O'Grady's got this pot of gold, which of course, brings the leprechaun he didn't have a name. He's just leprechaun.
Just like the leprechaun.
The leprechaun. So he goes and he buries the gold because Grady knows that the leprechaun's going to come for it. When he comes home, he finds his wife has been murdered. and the Leprechaun's like out for, the Leprechaun's never really the villain in this movie.
He just wants his gold.
He's very crystal clear about it.
Yeah, that's what he wants. He's not there to cause mayhem and chaos and murder for the sake of murder. I just want my gold.
Except the cop.
Well, yeah.
But other than that, it's give me my gold and I'll go away.
Yeah.
And that, of course, taps into the greed of man, and O'Grady, he does have a 4-leaf clover, and he traps
deep social issues, the greed of man.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if this was quite the avenue I would have gone with my political statement, but
yeah. I got a lot. I have a richer person for having watched the Leprechaun.
Yeah, exactly. And so O'Grady traps the Leprechaun in a box, puts a 4-leaf clover on it, and then has a heart attack or suffers a stroke.
Yeah.
Fast forward 10 years later.
Yeah.
Okay. And we see J.D. Redding, which honestly, J.D. must stands for just driving, because that's the only purpose he serves in this movie is to get Tori Redding to the farm.
He's a ferryman professionally.
That's right. So we're now 1993. J.D. Redding and his daughter, they've rented the O'Grady farmhouse for the summer, because why wouldn't you go to an abandoned farmhouse in North Dakota just because?
Now, if he's in, like, who's doing the business side of this? Is Mike Urat, like, if he still owns the home, but he's in poor health,
right?
I mean, this is pre like Airbnb.
Yeah, which it's also pre-internet, so it's like how'd you find it? Anyway, Tori's got all the questions. And I will give Jennifer Aniston credit where credit is due. For a feature film debut, she was fine.
Yeah, it was perfectly adequate performance.
I can't say that Jennifer Aniston's acting chops have grown much further than she's showing here. I don't think that she's a very successful actress, so I'm not denying that. But I've never been one that's like, oh man, Jennifer Aniston really pulled out all the stops for that performance.
I've never thought of her as like a thespian.
Me either. And so, but she's fine. Like,
yeah,
I've talked ad nauseum in previous episodes that for me, anytime you have a performer that either rises above or drops below the average performance level of the cast, it takes me out of the film. Nobody does in this one. Like, I'd say everybody's performance,
everybody's fine.
Yeah. Except for one, and I'll get to that in a minute, but they solve that problem. So they rent the O'Grady farmhouse for the summer. Coincidentally, like 10 minutes after showing up, there's already Nathan and his brother and Ozzy are already painting the house.
Yep, they're there. Why they couldn't have done this at any point over the past 10 years?
Actually, to be honest, it's like they were there first. Like, we didn't see them, but JD and Tori go in the house. They go down to the basement, and Tori basically, she doesn't want to be there, so she's finding her reasons not to be there. There's a spider and a tarantula. There's a tarantula in North Dakota.
Yeah.
So she's bugged out. Oh, cobwebs, and I'm out of here. She runs out of the house. She sees Colonel Lance arms, and then instantly it was like,
I think I'm going to give this a shot.
And I had Back to the Future in my movie marriage, only because he essentially calls her a chicken in this, like, because she's just like, I can't, and he's like, are you really going to let a spider and some cobwebs freak you out?
He does. I put in my notes here that he like reverse psychologies her into staying.
Yeah, he basically calls her chicken, and then Marty McFlies it and is like,
"What did you call me?
Yeah, you can't call me chicken." So
it's like the Arrested Development where they all have the different chicken dance and chicken sounds.
Exactly. Oh, I love that.
A doodle doodle do, a doodle doodle do.
And so, like, she had just told her dad in the basement, I'm gonna go get a hotel room. You can come see me. That's where I'll be. Mm-hmm. So that by the time Dad chases her out of the house, he's like, I thought you were leaving. No, I'm gonna stay.
No, I found two reasons to stay. Right. Colonel Lance left arm, Colonel Lance right arm.
Exactly. And so they do a pretty decent job of introducing us to the characters that matter.
Yeah, they do.
because they don't just have them like walk into frame. Like they are actively doing something that gives them a purpose to be there. Mm-hmm. So we also meet that was Nathan, by the way. Yes. Ken Olanta's Nathan. We meet his younger brother Alex, and their dim-witted, like just kind of idiot friend Ozzy.
Yes, yeah. This might come up later. The relationship between Nathan and Ozzy,
and so they help. They're helping paint the farmhouse.
Yep.
Not a whole lot of the farmhouse gets painted in this movie, by the way. Like even pre-Leprechaun involvement, they're not really that efficient of a work team. Like we'll paint a little bit over here.
Themselves.
We're gonna paint this board, and then we're gonna go paint that board, and we'll come back and do this one. And
there is a method to painting houses in North Dakota, and this is how you do it.
Well, down in the basement, at some point, the 4-leaf clover that's sitting on top of the Leprechaun box, because this box full of Leprechaun got moved to the basement while O'Grady suffered a stroke and taken away. They moved the box to the basement, but made sure to keep the 4-leaf clover on top of the box. Like, guys, don't let that clover fall off.
It's a load-bearing clover.
Yeah. So Ozzy's down in the basement, and the Leprechaun's crying out from inside the box with the voice of a child. Let me out. I'm not supposed to be in here. So, this is where Ozzy, because, Tori had like bumped into the box, and that woke the Leprechaun up. Ozzy brushes that 4-leaf clover off the box, which then frees the Leprechaun. Mm-hmm. Which then Ozzy, being the, for lack of a better word, being the idiot of the group.
Yes, resident dumb guy.
He comes running upstairs playing the basically chunk role of, the Fratellis are on the loose and da-da-da-da. And
sure they are.
Yeah. And you called about those little green monsters, So he's like, guys, there's a leprechaun in the basement. And they're just like, Ozzy.
That's our Ozzy.
And so, he and Alex, he kind of storms off. Alex chases him. They see a rainbow. Well, no, they come out of the house. They see a rainbow because they go down to the basement. They can't find a leprechaun anywhere. And so they're like, nope, there's no leprechaun, Ozzy. You're just still an idiot. So they go outside. Literally, we see a rainbow paint across the sky.
Yes. But Ozzy's the only one who sees it.
Yeah. And so Ozzy's like, I'm going to go find the end of that rainbow. And like, you go right on ahead, Ozzy. And Alex, you go with them. Make sure to get in any trouble. And they do. They come to the end of the rainbow. It's the end of the rainbow took them to the truck where O'Grady had hidden the
pot of gold.
The pot of gold. They find one coin. They not sure. And this comes back. It's Chekhov's stomach. So they, Ozzy's like, well, the only way you could tell if it's gold or not is to like bite it and see. So he ends up swallowing this gold coin.
That's Ozzy.
That's Ozzy.
Oh,
Mark Holt he dives into this role.
He does. He's not leaving anything too subtle here.
No. And so they find the pot. They find the bag of gold, and they're rich. Like we did it. And Alex has Alex, sweet Alex. He's got an idea. Let's keep this bag of gold to ourselves so that we could pay a doctor to fix your brain so you're not so stupid.
Yes, folks, that is what's driving the plot here.
It is. It is.
Let's use the gold to fix Ozzy's dumb brain.
And on one hand, like, you could tell Alex really does care about Ozzy.
Yeah, of course he does.
Like, all this is very genuine. Yes. and
like they really are friends. They
with
really do
care
about each other.
This is done with care. It's not, let's go fix that idiot. It's, Ozzy, you're dumb, and we can use this to get you a brain operation to fix your dumbness.
At one point later on in the movie, he's even like, but we were going to use that gold to fix Ozzy's dumb brain.
Like, he's like upset that the plan.
Yeah. Like, oh man, like, Ozzy's going to be dumb forever,
and I just have to deal with it. And that's the plot driver.
Yeah.
They go back. The leprechaun he lures JD. Imitates a cat. Like, we get like, Tori goes to get some paint out of the back of the truck. The leprechaun's underneath the truck and he's rubbing her leg.
Yeah.
which then Tori immediately thinks Nathan has crawled under the truck just to rub her leg.
Yeah, because that's how you woo a woman. Yeah. Is you crawl under the vehicle that she's standing by, and then rub her leg, pretending to be a small furry animal.
Right. Then we see Nathan walk back into frame, which then freaks her out. And as she dives away, something scratches her. It's the leprechaun, of course.
Yeah.
To which then Dad comes out and he's like, "Oh, I think it was a cat." She's like, I thought it was Nathan. He's like, "Well, why would you think it's Trust me, Dad, I know what it feels like when a guy's rubbing my leg." Like,
Tori.
And so they hear a cat out in the woods. JD goes and he's like, "This cat must be trapped in this log. Let me stick my hand in there and fix it."
This feral cat.
Which then it takes a huge bite out of JD's arm, and they solve, to me, what was the only problem with this film is JD is a absolute waste of a character.
Yeah.
A dumb human being. And they wisely, like, we got to get him to the hospital so we don't have to see him anymore.
Well, and to its credit, this movie isn't about him. It's about the other character. So
Absolutely.
let's incapacitate him,
right?
Get him out of here so that we can focus on the young characters in the Leprechaun.
And I am very glad they did, because this actor, John Sanderford, was by far the weakest performer in this cast.
Yeah.
By a country mile.
Mm-hmm.
So for them to have the wherewithal of JD got Tori where she needs to be, now we need to get him out of the way. We could send him into town and go to the bar, but like they give him a reason to be gone. Yeah. And I'm glad they did, because it was a pointless character. So Tori and Nathan they take JD to the hospital. The leprechaun finds a tricycle in the barn.
I love how they crank up the footage.
Speed it up. Yeah. So he follows them because, again, they have his gold.
He's just giggling as he's riding this tricycle.
And it's like early on.
In like 1.5 speed.
Exactly. Early on with these scenes, it was enough that it's like, ugh. But as they grew, it's like, this is kind of fun.
Yeah.
So they get to town, wherever town is. And so Alex and Ozzy go to a pawn shop. We got to find out if this gold is real.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they, meanwhile, Tori and Nathan basically just drop Dad off and then let's go get something to eat. Whew, he's good.
He'll be fine. He just got bit by a rabid animal.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. He's in the best place for him.
Boy, am I hungry.
Alex and Ozzy, they go to the pawn shop. The pawn shop owner is like, "I will get this checked out. Mm-hmm. If it's gold, it's worth this much money." And of course, Alex is like, "We can finally fix his brain." Like, finally.
All right, Ozzy.
Of course, the leprechaun is hot on their heels.
Yeah.
And he kills the pawn shop owner with a pogo stick. And then takes his gold back and shines.
I love that sequence.
Shines his shoes before he leaves.
Yes, I love the pogo stick. He literally gets out of, like, he knocks down the owner, and then literally hops on a pogo stick, crushing his sternum to death.
Yep. And I love it. It's not gory. It's not scary. It's just dumb and it's fun, and that's what this movie is. All right. Well, everybody heads back to the farmhouse. The leprechaun steals a go-kart.
I got to make a quick note here.
Yeah.
At a diner, again, Nathan and Tori are talking, and Nathan says something that really stuck out to me. He's talking about Ozzy and Alex. They're just kids.
Yeah. Ozzy's not a kid. Ozzy's a full-grown man.
Mark Holton was in his mid-30s when they filmed this movie.
Exactly. Like, they just tussle his hair a bit, and he's like, "You're just a kid." Oh, yeah. We learn a little bit about Tori and Nathan at the diner as well, because like she's like, "All I want is watercress salad and an Evian." Like, she's so hoity-toity, and he's like, "Do you want some of my meatloaf?" Or he goes, "Oh man," he goes, "Tori, you look real skinny. Do you want some of my meatloaf?" Like, apparently it's like instant plumping meatloaf.
you can use some loaf in your diet, honey.
It's like, "You look real skinny. Don't worry. This will make you bloat. You'll be fine."
I got the cure for that.
"Do you want some meatloaf?" And she's like, "No, I don't believe in killing live things." which then he rips her shoe off her foot, her LA Gear shoe, by the way. And rips it off her foot, and he's like, guess what? Your shoe's made of leather and a cow, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, Lord. Good thing you've got arms on you.
Just maybe don't talk so much.
Yeah, exactly. just. So they all head back to the farm. Leprechaun steals a go-kart and is on his way back to the farm, and a police officer pulls him over for speeding. As you do.
Yes.
And then this is the only time the Leprechaun kind of breaks folklore, really, because he's after his gold.
Yeah.
And the cop doesn't have any of his gold, but he there's a running time padding scene with this cop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where they have this basically hide and seek match in the woods as the officer chases the leprechaun into the woods, and then the leprechaun turns out to be chasing the cop. A lot of viscera, a lot of damage, and he ends up killing the cop. Luckily, apparently, though, it feels like either the leprechaun drove the car back or he killed him really close to the farm, because that cop car shows up in a few more scenes. So Leprechaun, everybody's back on the farm, including the Leprechaun. He's looking for his gold. And so, the Leprechaun beats them back, and he finds a bunch of shoes and just starts shining them because he's a leprechaun.
That's what he does.
And he tells Ozzy that's what he did. I'm a shoe shiner. I'll bite your ear off and turn it into a boot, So everybody gets back to the farm. The farmhouse is ransacked. Nathan goes outside to check what's going on, steps in a bear trap. Leprechaun sets a bear trap.
Yep.
And then they all fight the leprechaun as Nathan is laying there in the bear trap, just throwing sticks at him and rocks and stuff. So they all get back in the house. Nathan, being the muscle of the group, is now, hobbled. They find a shotgun, and they do this trope, and especially horror films, that they shoot the leprechaun and it knocks him over, but then he comes back. But then they proceed to continue to shoot the leprechaun, knowing it doesn't work, but they continue to do it anyway because it's the only thing they got.
Peace of mind,
I guess. So it's really just this cat and mouse game at this point of just a bunch of goofy stuff going on. They shoot the leprechaun, it doesn't work. They try to flee the farm, but the leprechaun sabotaged the truck, to which Alex is like, apparently Ozzy's an idiot, but Alex is an idiot savant. Like, he knows, he's like 10, 11 maybe. And he's like, the distributor cap. The truck won't start, and he knows exactly what the issue is just by hearing them try to start the truck. The distributor cap.
Well, at one point, the leprechaun gets back in his go-kart, and all the characters are trapped in the truck.
That must
be a pretty powerful go-kart here, Oz.
It's got magic. He's a magic man, the leprechaun. And he rams into the truck with the go-kart and just flips the truck over. A complete 360 because it lands back on its tires. And by the time, again, it didn't do several rolls like Casino Royale. Like, it just rolled once. So it's maybe 15 feet from where it started. By the time the leprechaun gets off the go-kart and gets to the truck, everybody has evacuated the truck, gotten into the woods, and hidden. So I'm glad they were safe, as all of this weight was rolling around inside this truck. So this is where Ozzy reveals to Tori and Nathan, because Alex has been wanting to keep this secret, because we got to keep the secret so we can fix your brain. It's going to afford your neurosurgery.
We're going to fix your brain, Ozzy. We're going to undumb you.
You're right. Ozzy reveals the leprechaun, because again, he's basically Warwick Davis is on repeat. I want me gold. I want me gold.
At one point he finds the rest of it, and he's literally counting one piece at a time. 97, 98,
right,
99.
Because Ozzy tells the group, Alex and I found the gold. We put the bag of gold. It's in the water bucket at the bottom of the well. So Tori goes out and cranks it up, and, brings it, and she has the bag of gold. The leprechaun materializes right next to her, and she just hands him the gold. Here's your gold. And he's basically like, we're square, thanks. And then we catch him back by the police car, like you said, counting his gold, and he's 1 coin short. To be fair, I forgot where that coin was. Like, I didn't forget the pawn shop scene, but I forgot that he took that coin. So I thought that was the 1 coin. I forgot Ozzy swallowed one. Yeah. I thought that the coin they gave to the pawn shop owner was the 1 coin missing. And then I remembered. So they're like, we're all good. Like, the leprechaun has got his gold. He's going to leave us alone. They all decide to go to the hospital because, again, Nathan had his leg caught in a bear trap. Well, it turns out that Ozzy swallowed that coin, kind of forgot about it. This is all the day that JD and Tori move in.
Yes.
Same day.
This is all in like a 14-hour span.
I wouldn't even go that far because the sun was pretty high in the sky when they got there.
They were just having afternoon tea when they rolled up to the house in the beginning.
So the leprechaun thinks that they tricked him, right? They think that, these guys, they got the best of me. So Ozzy's talking about O'Grady, which then we get a little bit of exposition. Honestly, I thought O'Grady had died. Yeah. But they're like, oh no, he's in a nursing home in town. Like he's going to know how to kill this leprechaun. So they have this ridiculous scene where Tori's like, I'm going to go into town and talk to O'Grady. She heads to the Jeep, and the leprechaun shows up. And everybody decides that we're going to buy Tori some time because we found a box of shoes. Yep. And we're going to chuck shoes at the leprechaun because the only thing he loves more than his gold is shining shoes.
And he's compelled to do it.
Oh, yes. And so she gets in the Jeep trying to get enough room to drive away. They're literally throwing shoes past the leprechaun. So he's got to run around and just shine.
I can't not shine these shoes.
And so she drives away. She goes to the nursing home. Somehow magic. I'm going to say magic. The leprechaun beats her there. Like from the jump when she walks into O'Grady's room. Well, apparently this is a high security nursing home because she has to sneak in. The guard's asleep. She has to steal the binder to figure out where O'Grady's room is. She walks in.
This guy's fast asleep, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. She walks into O'Grady's room and we just see him from the back. At the end of Psycho, when she busts into the fruit cellar. Yeah. It's something's afoot when so we see the back of a wheelchair. She's having a conversation. Well, it's the leprechauns pretending to be Grady. O'Grady. So Tori runs the elevator.
Bizarre scene in the elevator.
Yeah, it really, really is because how big of a nursing home is this? This is a small town. This doesn't seem. It's North Dakota. O'Grady is thrown down the elevator shaft as Tori's trying to leave. But O'Grady's laying there it's just bloody face.
Well, he's not laying there; he's hanging through. Well, the ceiling.
but it's he's just hanging like a bat, from the porthole in the top of the elevator, and he's just and Tori just doesn't really overreact. She doesn't scream or anything. She just, how do we beat him?
Oh, hey there.
Just the guy I was looking for.
Funny to see you here.
And O'Grady just, it's a 4-leaf clover. You have to get one out of the clover patch. Yeah.
Basically, that he's dead.
His final words. Oh my. So Tori gets back. She finds, by the way, this North Dakota farm is on a dirt farm. It's just, there's nothing there except this well-manicured clover patch. Yes. So she parks the Jeep. She's down there rumbling around. She's looking for 4-leaf clovers. Leprechaun shows up. Nathan and Ozzy come and save her. Ozzy reveals, I swallowed the last coin. Right. That it's, that he basically goes, I'll buy you guys time. because they're looking for this 4-leaf clover. Tori then stops. I can't do it. Like and Ozzy's like, you got to believe in yourself.
Thanks, Ozzy.
It's so like the more you know. Like,
yeah, basically.
And so he's like, you got to believe. You can't stop believing in yourself. So Ozzy's, I'm going to buy you guys time. You guys find this clover. As they're saying that, literally, like, she picks up a clover. There's a spotlight from the heavens, like, on her hand, lighting it up is like, whoa. Like, I was waiting for, like, that, like the shimmer. Well, it did have, like a glow, like, the outer rims. Like, it had, like, it was, like, showing up. And, and so, so they got this 4-leaf clover. Ozzy goes to the leprechaun and says, I swallowed your last coin. It's in my stomach. And the leprechaun's like, get it out, big boy. Let's go. So Ozzy is fighting off the leprechaun. The leprechaun's literally trying to rip open his gut so he can get to this coin.
That's where the coin is.
Alex takes that 4-leaf clover, wraps it around a wad of gum, takes a slingshot we've not seen at all in this film, and like shoots it right into the leprechaun's mouth.
Yeah, like Bart Simpson's it right in there.
Very much so. The leprechaun kind of backpedals, and he just literally starts to melt, just like when Gizmo flipped open the shutters at the end of Gremlins and just melting. Leprechaun falls back in the well. The skeleton tries to climb out. Nathan pushes him back in, and then just takes like nitroglycerin, I guess. Just canisters of nitroglycerin. He takes gasoline, pours it down in the well, lights a match, drops it down there, and then the largest explosion in the history of well explosions. And the cops show up, and we get Warwick Davis voiceover, which I heard he was extremely happy they did because it opened the opportunity for more of these movies, which good for him. He's made quite the career off of them. And we get the voiceover of the leprechaun bowling because, again, he's one gold coin short. Yep.
He's got to get his gold.
Ozzy hasn't passed it yet, nor do I think he will. It's a pretty large coin. And the leprechaun says, I will not rest until I've received all of me gold.
Yep. Roll credits.
Yep, and that is 1993's Leprechaun.
That's Leprechaun, folks. Hey, every week Oz and I give our own unique rating to the film we watch and talk about. In this case, 1993's The Leprechaun. Oz, how would you rate this flick?
I'm giving this all 8 Lucky Charms.
All 8.
Yep, all 8 of them.
Purple moons.
Yep. Horseshoes, unicorns, clovers, blue moons, hearts, stars, rainbows, and red balloons. They're magically delicious.
Magically delicious. At one point of the movie, they fight a box of Lucky Charms.
They do.
And the leprechaun looks at it and goes, Dad! So stupid.
It is. This movie.
It just leans into every stereotype.
Again, I'll get to it a little more.
It's never like, I don't know. It never leans too far into the point where it's being... where it's being like rude
a farce or anything.
or it's like discriminatory.
No, like they
it's just silly.
It's silly, but everybody took it very seriously, and I think that adds a lot to it. That like it's at the end result is pretty silly and fun, but they're like, we're trying to make a legit movie here. Like, there's some humor, there's some horror. We're trying to make, and nobody was winking at the camera. Warwick Davis a little bit, but it's his character. Like, So, what do you got? What are you giving it for a rating?
I'm just giving it a 4-leaf clover.
Oh, I almost went with it, but I thought, I'll leave that. 4-leaf clover it is.
4-leaf clover. Make it easy for you with your image search there.
Already found.
Next up, Oz and I have been scouring the interwebs, searching for unprofessional reviews that tickle our funny bones, and we hope they tickle yours as well. In our next segment, Outside Insights. Oz, what is your outside insight?
I have a 1-star review by Brian S. off of Amazon. Okay. And Brian S. very well may have the same condition Ozzy has in the movie.
Okay.
This was left October 1st of 2018. There is no punctuation in here and a ridiculous amount of spelling errors.
Okay.
Jennifer Aniston at her worst. Aniston is misspelled. This is what it's like for an actress to get her first role in a movie and blows it. They were supposed to pick another actress to do this role. Jennifer Aniston is a totally cheesy, whiny brat in this. I wanted to call her another B word, but decided not to. And her character is stupid. I don't know how at first she is a little whiny wimp at first. And then later helps to fight back. I would have liked to have seen her character get killed off, but of course she's the main character. But the Leprechaun and the kid and the other characters are more likable, except the buffoon Ozzy, misspelled. So I put it at 1-star rating because of Jennifer Aniston, and I pretty much don't like any of her movies, and I despise the TV show Friends, and I don't get why that show lasted a long time, and I don't know why it's still on TV. Crappy series.
Yep.
2 points. Jennifer Aniston is spelled like Jennifer's correct, Aniston is wrong, and then later on, Jennifer is now with an A. Ozzy is Ozie. Leprechaun's misspelled 3 times. Leprechaun.
So it was written in a word processor, an old school word processor that didn't have a spell check.
Yes, it was. There was not one. I wanted to call her the other B word, but decided not to. You kind of just did.
Well, yeah, you did.
Thanks, Brian S., who lowercase is his last name. But so does E.B. White, though, so whatever.
That's true.
What do you got for your Outside Insight?
I'm going to share 2. My first one is a 10 out of 10, written by Sports Fan, left on December 31st, 1999, so the day before Y2K. And as always, my reviews come from the Internet Movie Database. Subject line, "Where's me gold coin?" This movie is cool. I've never laughed so hard in my life. There are some great lines in this movie, but the best was, "Where's me gold? Ireland forever."
Oh, Lord. That's my favorite line of this whole film.
Yep.
Where's me gold?
Where's me gold? That's my favorite line. Ireland forever.
Long live Ireland.
Oh, yeah. My other is a 1 out of 10 review left by ZB Felt on January 20th, 2006. Subject line, "I'll give you a clue. It starts with bow and ends with ring." We rented this movie with 4 other bad horror movies. The others we rented were either turned out to be actually good or were bad enough to be funny. Side note, Silent Night, Deadly Night, as corny as that title sounds, turned out to be a good movie. Hack-O-Lantern is hilarious.
Okay.
I wanted to see this movie partially because Jennifer Aniston is in it, and I love her. Unfortunately, the young boy was a superior actor in this particular film. Sorry about your luck, Jen, but I guess we all have to start somewhere.
Oh, yeah. I think she turned out all right.
Yep. Starts with bow, ends with ring. Good one, ZB Felt.
Man, he delivers.
Hey, folks, it is that time you've all been waiting for. The Let's Talk About Flicks signature segment. The 3, 2, 1, in which Oz and I each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and 1 about this week's movie, The Leprechaun. Oz, what are your 3 goods?
My first one is it's just very simple filmmaking.
Sure.
And it works for a movie like this. They're not trying any creative angle. It's just very straightforward. Just very straightforward. Yeah. And let the story flow. And so that's my first. I really like that, just the very simple filmmaking approach to it. My second is this movie falls into a feel-good category for me of fun movies that honestly take themselves seriously. Movies like Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah.
Critters, Tremors.
Yeah.
Just that. Are they good? No, they're not. Yeah. But everybody involved is giving their best effort.
Yeah.
And the result is just it's just a delight. Like, you watch this movie and it qualifies as a horror film, but you're never scared. But you just, like, I just had a good time. Like, I was never bored by it, but I was never also, like, impressed by it. It just was, and I like that. Like, there's enough there's enough tryhards out there.
Sure.
That I like it when people are like, hey, I got this fun story and I got people to back it. And I got people to be in it. Let's go out and have some fun. And that's what this movie, the vibes it gave to me was just everybody was having a good time and it showed. And so I know you kind of echo that type of cinema as well. It's B, it's very much a B movie, but it's not abrasive. It's not offensive. It's just fun. Like,
Killer Clowns is a great comedy.
Yeah. And, and Critters as well. Like I really like that movie, and it's sci-fi and it's monster and it's goofy, but everybody's working their butt off to pull it off. Nobody's above the material. And my third good is this. It's just charming. Like, it's just a charming film. For a lot of the reasons we just talked about, that is it something I'm going to watch on repeat? No, but is it a movie that, like, if we were to do a month of movies like this, a movie like this and Killer Clowns, like those would all fit, and the vibe would be there. It's not overly mean. Like, there's a little bit of language, but it's not enough to really throw you off. And, I don't know. It's hard to really put like a name on it, but it's just a charming little feel good horror film.
Yeah.
So those are my 3 goods.
90 minutes of fun.
Yeah. So those are my 3 goods. What do you got?
I'm going to start with my goods. My first one is Nathan's Arms. Ooh. Yeah. Ken Olant brought his A game. I early on in my notes when we first meet his character, I just scrolled back up. Tori literally runs into Hunky in all caps. Yeah. Sleeveless Nathan, a hired hand. So
makes me want to take up house painting, because apparently it's a great workout.
I know, it really tones the biceps and the triceps.
Yeah,
as long as you don't wear sleeves, they just get in the way.
He probably started with sleeves and just ripped through them.
they just bulged his sleeves off.
Just blew off his shirt, exploded.
So that's my first one, is Nathan's Arms.
Fair enough.
My second is Alex is wearing Reebok pumps, and there was a close up on the shoe at one point as he was running. Like,
there was a close up on Tori's shoes too. Like,
her LA Gears.
Her LA Gear.
Yeah.
But,
so just early 90s shoes.
Did you ever own a pair of Reebok pumps?
I didn't. No, I did not own a pair of Reebok pumps.
I had a pair of, they were Shaq's Reebok pumps. Mm-hmm. I went through this phase in that, like, middle school, early high school, where, like, the uglier the shoe was, the more I wanted it.
Yeah.
And that was, like, key for that 90s era where everybody was trying to stylize and the shoes were just hideous looking. Yeah. But no, I had a pair of the Shaq, the Shaq Reebok pumps before he went off and did his own shoe line.
Yeah. Is that when the pump was was a basketball?
Yeah. Uh-huh. And they were a black and white kind of lava lamp flowing kind of vibe, it wasn't cut lines or anything. So the basketball is really obnoxious because it was always a super bright orange, so I got this black and white shoe with the super bright orange pump on it. And,
how much did it help your vertical?
I didn't have one.
Oh, maybe it gave you one then.
It's true. I don't even remember if I ever really pumped up my shoes. But yeah,
that's why your basketball career never took
off.
I
guess because I looked at them, they had gone black basketball with white lettering on the pump at that point. But yeah.
So yes, my second is the Reebok pumps, and just early 90s awful shoes in general. And my last is at what point, as they're fighting off the Leprechaun in the police car, Jennifer Aniston's character Tori, she shoves a police baton into the Leprechaun's eye, just kind of stunning him for a moment to allow them to escape. And then they're in the dead cop's car,
right? And
so he pulls out one of the dead cop's eyes and it puts it in his own eye socket to replace his eye.
Eye for an eye
was funny.
It was fun. Yeah, and she's just in the back seat, like, don't.
Yeah. But, like, again, she shoved his eye further into his skull, so his other eye is still in there.
It's still there, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, optic nerves, they have a mind of their own.
We didn't have a suction cup to, like, pull that back out.
Yeah.
Had to go to plan B.
Yep. So that's my third good is just him. He replaced his own eye with the dead cops. I thought that was fun. Yeah. Say, Oz, what are your two bads?
Dad was just a real drip and idiot. Like, yeah, and so, easily the weakest character in the cast, and I'm glad that they found a way to get him out of there. Yeah. That actually made sense in the plot too. It wasn't just like, well, I'm going to go into town for a few hours, and so that's my first bad, was just like I mentioned earlier. When you've got a performance that either rises above or drops below the rest of the cast, it sticks out, and his really stuck out. Everyone is like showing some sort of emotion, and then he's running up as she's laying on the ground with like claw marks on her leg. What happened, Tori? Why don't you go put your hand in that hole over there?
Yeah.
We got to get you out of here. And so that's my first bad. And my second one is nobody really showed a whole lot of fear of the Leprechaun in this movie.
Sure.
He clearly was a mythical, magical creature that was causing mayhem and chaos and destruction and violence, hurting people. But at no point was anyone ever like scream and run the other way. They would, even
it was more startled than terror.
Yeah. Even when Tori went out, like she was more afraid going out to the well. And then when she cranked up the pot of gold and he materialized right next to her, and she's just like, here's your gold. Almost like it was transactional. And so
can I get a receipt for that?
Exactly. Like, this is all you needed, right? And so that's my second bad. Is like, nobody really, like, their reactions to the Leprechaun could have elevated the horror, but it was all very Scooby-Doo. Let's just run to the next room to get away from the problem. Mm-hmm. And so that's my second bad. It's whatever. I mean, it doesn't make or break the film at all, but it was just noticeable that I'm like, you guys have never seen a Leprechaun before, and he's literally like injuring you guys, and you're like, oh, he's just more of an annoyance than he is something.
That Leprechaun.
God, where's this gold? Like, Ozzy, what'd you eat it for? So
one of the deleted scenes was they pulled the Leprechaun's mask off. It was Old Man McGinty from the amusement park.
You meddling kids. It was old man. It was Man O'Grady from
old
nursing.
Man O'Grady.
You found me gold. So that's my second bad. What do you got?
My first bad is a lot of the movie takes place either at night or in dark spaces like the basement.
Yeah.
And so it's not well lit. And I have a feeling part of that was intentional, just because it's low budget and you're trying to hide some of the seams in the Leprechaun outfit and things like that. But I did find it hard to literally see part of the movie.
There are times in horror films where I enjoy that aesthetic, because we've evolved in Hollywood that now, every wooded scene is extremely well lit with a blue light, like, where you can see everything. So there was a time, like in a Friday the 13th movies, where you're not setting up lights in the woods. You're literally just using the moonlight to capture this chase scene. And that adds a little bit of eeriness to it, as long as nothing's happening in the shadow. But I agree with you. Like in this movie,
I still wanted to see what was happening. Though.
Yeah, it was dark for sure. Like, I'm glad they quit going into the basement.
So that was my first bad, and I literally just wanted to see more. Right. And my second one was, so Ozzy and Alex are best friends, and Mark Holton was in his mid-30s when they made this movie.
And older brother Nathan's cool with it.
Yeah, so it just, this easily could have been a but I'm going to put it as a bad just because it just felt weird.
It did. Yeah. But at the same time, like Ozzy was the one needed taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was weird.
And there could be some, like, if we really wanted to rationalize it, like, there could be reasons why they employed him. But
just for federal subsidies, like
yes, yeah.
There's a lot of economics in this.
But I'll just leave it as it was a little weird, the age dynamic there
for sure.
So those are my two bads. Oz, what's your one and only?
What exactly is the color scheme of this house? At one point, they are painting with a very, very royal blue. And then part of the shutter was a very bright red, and like I just what is the color scheme of this house? You guys have 48 different paint cans open. I don't know what the colors are inside. But why would you open another paint can if you already have that color open? And it's like, it just was. Well,
in North Dakota, they sell cans of paint in boxes of 64, like crayons.
Well, and I did hear in some parts of North Dakota, you can, like in carpet stores, you can go buy remnants. You can go buy remnants of paint.
Yeah. Just like, this one's a third full. This one's halfway.
Right.
This one's some other spilled into it.
Yeah, they really Sherwin-Williams has abandoned that practice, but they really did lead the way in North Dakota when there weren't enough houses to paint with a full gallon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna throw out the rest.
Right? It's like I probably used paint store. I'll just go and get some money back, and somebody else can benefit. So that's where 3 guys that paint come from.
They go to the used paint store.
Yeah. And, so that's my is what is the color scheme of this house? It was very bright.
Yes.
So what is your Your one and only
I'm gonna share a quick backup until I get my real one. My backup was: are police officers trained to throw their batons in shadows in the woods, like to disarm themselves?
In North Dakota, they are.
Yeah, there's a shadow. I'm going to throw my weapon away 50 feet away, trusting that I'm going to hit this shadow.
I hope it's there.
Yeah. So that's my backup. My real is so we're in kind of the beginning of Act 3, and they just got back from the hospital. They're all in the house. They're kind of recovering. They just I think they noticed that the place has been ransacked.
Yeah.
I think this is right before the leprechaun, he started popping out of the cabinets.
Right.
So they just get back, and Nathan starts going around to the bedrooms to see where they're all going to sleep. Doesn't he live in town? So he's like, well, I'm going to go check out the bedrooms because I need a place to crash. Like you live 2 miles away in town.
Yeah. I'm not leaving you here by yourself, Tori.
Just go home to sleep.
Go home where there is no leprechaun.
But it just and I don't think the leprechaun had reappeared there, so it was seemingly safe.
Yeah,
and so you live 2 miles away. If you need a place to sleep, just go home to sleep.
That makes sense. Yeah. I don't think he was thinking of sleeping.
I don't think he was either, but he's like, well, I'm going to go check out to see where everybody's going to sleep.
Right. Mainly Tori and I.
Just go home.
Yeah.
You have a bed.
Yeah, there were a lot of questions to be answered in a film like this.
Yep. So that's my
That's a good one.
And that's 1993's Leprechaun, Oz.
Yes, thank you, Mandy K, for your recommendation. So much. Yeah, this
was just for your patronage.
Of course,
we appreciate the support.
Yeah, of course. So it was a fun movie. I'm glad she brought it to the table.
And I think neither of us had seen it. That's correct.
No. Yeah, I had not seen it.
Yeah, so. It's shockingly for both of us was the first time watch. So thank you for giving us a reason to finally watch Leprechaun.
She's 2 for 2, with Wes Craven's New Nightmare last year being a fun one, and so but this movie has spawned it's a series. Leprechaun 2, Leprechaun 3, and by part 4 they're in space. He comes back from space and he's in the hood for part 5. Mm-hmm. Then in part 6, it's Leprechaun Back to the Hood. So apparently it's part 6, but also part 2 of the Hood series.
Which makes it part 12, actually.
They reboot it in 2014 with Leprechaun Origins.
Of course they did.
Yeah, and then they released Leprechaun Returns in 2018. So
then there was Leprechaun Tokyo Drift.
Leprechaun Returns in 2018 is a direct sequel to the original film. So there's Leprechaun in 93, Leprechaun 2 in 94, but then the real sequel was in 2018.
Okay.
Yep.
Leprechaun Judgment Day.
Leprechaun Returns in 2018 stars a new little person as the Leprechaun and Mark Holton as Ozzy Jones.
Yeah. He could use the work.
Yeah, he comes back. So a mere 15 years later, I hope he got that brain surgery.
Yeah, that was just bizarre.
Yeah.
We're going to use this gold to fix your brain.
That's right. That really was the underlying catalyst of the film.
Yeah.
We found the gold. We're not going to go, we're not we're not going to pull the IOU route from like Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
We're like, we'll spend it all, but we have IOUs. It's as good as money.
Yeah.
But they're like, Alex is like, we can't tell anybody about this. I want to use it to buy you brain surgery.
Yeah. We're going to bring this gold to the hospital, plop it on the desk, and just say, fix his brain.
And they will say, right this way, sir.
Yeah.
So, but no, it was a fun movie. So thank you again, Mandy K, for bringing this to our attention. What do we have for next week?
Next week, we're going to Patreon subscriber Colleen, Patreon subscriber Koki.
Yeah.
Koki, as we've established in years past, likes her 80s hunks, and this movie was 1989, featured young hunky Billy Zane, who I think was forbidden to wear a shirt at any point in this movie,
and a young hunky Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, yes. Lots of young hunks in this movie. And we're gonna go out to Australia, Oz, and we're gonna watch Dead Calm.
Another movie I've not seen.
I had seen parts of it. I had never watched it from beginning to end. I watched it this past last weekend.
Okay,
solid film.
Yeah,
very very simple premise. Solid film.
Are there any leprechauns?
I mean,
don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Nicole Kidman, you never know.
That's true. Don't spoil it for me. Yeah. Warwick Davis had red hair. Nicole Kidman has red hair. This does qualify as a horror film. It very, very may well.
Yeah, there's a 6 degrees of separation between Warwick Davis and Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, because both of them have had a relationship with Billy Zane.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
He's an open book, that Zane.
Yeah, she was actually the voice of R2-D2 in Star Wars Episode 8.
Right, there you go. No, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah,
After a tragedy, John Ingram and his wife Ray are spending some time isolated at sea, as you do.
Yep.
When they come across a stranger who has abandoned a sinking ship. Okay, that's kind of a cool premise. You get the idea. Does it primarily just take place on their boat then?
Yeah. 90% of the movie is at sea.
Okay. All right. Okay. I like that premise.
Yeah, it is a very interesting premise.
I do. I hope the boat is quite large, because if it's like a dinghy, they're not going to have a lot of room. It's like the Raft and Castaway. There's not a lot of room to do much, but
yeah, this is actually a prequel. This is Wilson's origin story.
Right, there you go.
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman plays Wilson.
Yeah. There's your through line.
Yeah.
I mean, it was made with red blood,
it's true.
Red blood from his hand, and
it's just
her red hair.
They wiped the white paint off of their head, and it was just her red hair shining through.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And Billy Zane has a history of boat movies. I bet this is in the Titanic universe.
It is. It's in the TCU.
Yeah.
The Titanic cinematic
John
universe.
Ingram and Ray are just spending some time at sea. Billy Zane, fresh off these Titanic sinking.
Here's a very, very minor spoiler. It's his character that rows up to Sam Neill and Nicole Kidman's. So he's rowing from the Titanic.
That's what I mean. He survives the Titanic sinking and then is like, you know what? I'm kind of into red-haired women. Nicole Kidman?
And there we go.
Yeah.
One ship's going down. There's another one not too far off.
He happens to have another giant blue diamond necklace. He just drapes it over her head. He's like, you've seen one, you've seen them all.
If the shoe fits.
Dead Calm 2 stars Billy Zane and Susie Kurtz. So that's his next red hair's vixen.
There you go. Swoozy Kurtz. She was in character for Bubble Boy.
I hope Sam Neill has a dream sequence in this movie where a dinosaur says his name.
Yes, yeah. He wakes up at one point and just in a cold sweat, Alan.
Alan. So, yeah, I know we poke fun, but I'm 6.8. It's got to be 2.5
I
better.
Think it's a little better than the 6.8.
Okay,
I'm not saying it's a perfect film by any means.
Well, no, but
I'd put it in the solid 7 something.
Okay,
range.
That's fair. You should figure Leprechaun was better than what'd you say 4.3,
4.8 on IMDb.
4.8, yeah. So this is easily. I'm excited because this is 2 better. This is 2 better than Leprechaun.
It's 2 movies better than Leprechaun.
2.0 better than Leprechaun.
Yes, by the math.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Well, Colleen K., we will honor you next week.
Yeah. She joining us?
I don't think so. I will ask again, but I don't think Colleen K. will be
I may reach out as well.
Like, she might listen to you more than me. I think she likes you more than me.
Well, it's been a while. So
she'd be more tickled to hear from you than me.
She probably would. And maybe I'll take my shirt off when I text her.
There you go. And
no pictures. No pictures, but just
she'll just get the sense an 80s hunk is contacting me.
Right. I smell a hunk.
Is that Mel Gibson from Lethal Weapon?
Yeah, well, there's a C in front of my hunk, so. Yeah. But no, I may reach out and be like, we'd love to have you on the show. Even if all she does is just giggle at us.
It's just laughs. Just
that's all she'll do is just giggle. So, but that'll be fun. We'll see. We may or may not have a special guest next week.
Yeah.
Social media wise, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Again, you can catch us if on your favorite podcast app, or you can watch us on YouTube. Check out those YouTube shorts, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff that that influencers like us do to get our clout.
That's what I think of myself, influencer.
Yes. I just do it for the analytics at this point.
It's just that you're just in it for the numbers.
I'm in it for the clicks. That's all I'm in it for.
Yeah. I actually think of myself more as a pusher than an influencer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm pushing the pills that is Let's Talk About Flicks.
I'm more of a demander. Like
I'm an insister.
It's true. There you go. Yeah. Some influence, we're more persuaders. So you'll do it. Just do it. You'll feel better if you do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Just like everybody's doing it. Look at the numbers. Like,
look at the analytics.
Right. Just do it. You'll feel good. So, but no, that for another week on Let's Talk About Flicks. I'm Oz.
I'm Curtis.
We'll see you guys next week.